Welcome to the case study in flat web design. Before we get started with this particular website that we're going to view today, I wanted to introduce the concept of flat design to you. Flat design is best described actually by Vandelay Design. They gave a wonderful description of it in their article, 33 Examples of the Flat Web Design Trend. So if you guys get a chance, go to that website and really take a look at it. They've got some gorgeous examples of this particular design trend. But let's talk about what it means here. Flat design is basically design without any kind of drop shadows or gradients or textures. You know, all those things that you find inside the layer properties panel inside of Photoshop, they are tending to try to avoid that with this particular design technique. Flat design is also about using blocks of solid colors, and they're also about a greater emphasis on typography. So, in keeping that in mind, let's go take a look at our first example here. It's going to be Captain Dash. What a funny name, huh? This is a product that is all about data. So it's an application, and they're trying to market this application to the public. And I just absolutely love this particular website. So let's start from the top and go down. At the very top of the page, do you notice how the traditional header is gone? This is kind of fun. I thought it was really an interesting way to showcase their logo by just simply putting it up here. They didn't put the word Captain Dash anywhere. You know, this is really neat. Watch again as my mouse rolls over the top header. So there's some action here. Yeah, this is clickable, but this is really a substitution for the incredibly large headers that we've seen as a design trend over the past few years. So that was kind of fun. Do notice that this is just a solid color up here at the very top. The logo is prominently placed here in the middle, and we know from web design techniques that the middle of your screen is where the eye tends to be drawn. So they put it right front and center. Other things about this page. As I start mousing over this navigation system, take a close look at this animation. So not only are we designing for static web pages anymore, but we are also designing for web pages that use animation. Animation can be brought forth in a couple of ways. You can use CSS to animate something onto a screen or to change the colors. You can use JavaScript, or you can use one of the libraries that are a subset of JavaScript, like jQuery or MooTools, you know, any of those guys. You can have other products that can help you, especially as a designer. One of the products that I have in mind is Adobe Edge Animate, and this is actually something that you guys will get a chance to look at inside of Web 230, which I'm happening to teach next semester, and I hope you guys can join me. In Web 230, using Edge Animate really frees up the designer, because they can design inside of Photoshop, they can put it inside of Adobe Edge Animate, and they can get access to some really intuitive tools to help you be able to do these kinds of visual changes for your navigation system or images. So those are a few ways that you can get animation on your screen as a designer. So let's look at that again. Just going across the screen here. How fun is that? Simple, but very effective. Now, this animation movie here in the middle is really fun, and I hope you'll take a second to go over to Captain Dash to watch it. It's definitely worth a look. Okay, watch how the page moves in from the right of my screen to the middle. Now, admittedly, this is a little choppy for me because I'm running so many additional programs. However, when I have QuickTime turned off, it's a very smooth load and animation from the right-hand side of my screen to the left. So, how do you plan something like this as you're working in web design? You have to think like an animator a little bit. You have to know what's going to be hovering off to the right-hand side of your screen, off screen, where the people can't see it, and know how that is going to be able to move on to really help things out. Now, going again with that idea of flat web design, take a look at this graphic here in the center. Do you see how simple it is? How clean? Notice all the white space that they have allowed to happen around their text. So again, that flat design is really putting the emphasis on the text here in the center of my screen. There's a very bold header right here and just a little bit of text down below. Gone are the days of pages and pages of text just to read on a website like this. Now, another thing that's really fun about this particular website is responsive design. You may not have had a chance to really work with responsive design yet, but I want to show you what it does. When I go over here to the right-hand side of my screen, I'm going to hover over the edge till I get my double arrow, click and drag. Do you notice how this is responding to the resizing of my page? The clouds are moving in at the bottom. The text is realigning itself to give you a better viewing experience. This web page is designed to be responsive from the larger screen sizes, like my big iMac here, all the way down to about an iPad. I found that if I went towards the like an iPhone size, that it didn't quite go that far. So my intuitive guess is that they have some scripting behind the scenes here that is detecting my browser size. And when it gets down to that iPhone or Android phone size, they're probably going to serve an entire site to whoever's looking at it, an entire site completely different. So that's what responsive design is all about. Okay. Now, I'm going to scroll up this page to show you guys one more really fun feature. I want you to watch down here, this bar. See what happens to it as I move up my screen. Again, I apologize for the choppiness, but do you notice how that bar is staying in place right here? That was, again, a really fantastic plan that the designers had here. Whenever you have a page that scrolls quite a bit, you need to provide some kind of navigation and some kind of way for your users to move around your page more easily and quickly, even when you do scroll. And what they did is they told this particular element, this sub-navigation, if you will, to stay in place. The way that you do that is through CSS positioning. They have taken advantage of something called fixed positioning. So it's always going to remain in the same place depending on if you've reached that certain point in their page. Now, that concept of what they just did, of getting to a certain place in your page and then having this stick, that has to be controlled through some kind of scripting. However, you can have a navigation system that just sticks to the top of the browser in purely just CSS. Okay, but that is just something different. Now, one final thing, I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom of this page because I found a really fun contact form. I'm not normally a contact form fan, but I didn't even realize that this was a contact form until I started looking at it more closely. Down here at the bottom, take a look at their footer section. See this right here? Type your email. That is actually that's a form. Oops, excuse me. I clicked on something I shouldn't have. But yeah, it's just a form. So I'm going to get back here. And it looks like it's really integrated into the page because they changed the CSS for that little input. The input element, as you recall from your Web 125 classes, that is the one where you use that you're going to be able to use to gather information for a contact form. So if I were to go ahead and type my email here, please don't email. Please don't email me. So if I wanted that, I could go ahead and just hit send, and it would take me to a new place. Excuse me, take me and allow them to send me some information. But just look at how integrated that little input is into this entire page. It's organic. It's just a great part of it. I love, 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 love that. The last thing we're going to take a look at is their treatment of their footer. Again, it's very much a part of the web design. It doesn't look like it's an afterthought. So not only do you have to pay attention to the very first thing that people see, you also have to pay attention to the footer. Okay. All right, guys. This has been a blast to go through with you and talk about. I hope you found some really great ideas that you would like to use to incorporate in your own personal web designs. I'll see you guys in the next movie.